What's up, everybody? Today we're going to build these two cradled panels. Let's do it. I will start out by recording measurements for how wide and how long I'd like to make each piece. I will record those measurements on the board, and I will additionally make a cut line on the left of the board. Next, I'll set my fence based on that cut mark and begin cutting all 4 boards for each cradled panel. Next, I'll lower my blade and cut all pieces to final length using my miter gauge. To keep things in order, I'll mark my boards A and B as well as long and short pieces. From here, it's onto my miter sled to cut the 45-degree angles on both sides of each board for the cradled panel that I am mitering. Once the miter cuts are complete, I'll add a piece of painter's tape to the outside of all the pieces and line them up in a row. I'll add glue in between the joints, brush that glue in, and then I'll simply use the painter's tape as my clamp and leave that clamped up for about 24 hours. You don't need that much time, but I'm in no rush, so I'll let it sit for a while. Once the mitered panel is set up, I'll move on to the second panel. For this panel, I'm using butt joints for the joinery, so I will drill pilot holes, countersink them, and add glue and screws to hold the joint. I repeat this process on all 4 sides of the panel, and then verify that we are square inside and out. Next, it's on to some sanding. I sand the tops and bottoms of both boards as well as the sides, just to make sure we have everything even before we add our boards. For the first panel, I'm using 1/8 inch hardboard. For the second panel, I'm using 1/8 inch plywood. I will take both cradled panels, lay them down on the respective materials, and mark out basic sizes. From there, it's onto the bandsaw where I cut out the rough size for each panel's board. I make sure to leave myself a little bit of wiggle room, since things like to move around sometimes during a glue up. Once the boards are cut, I'll lay them down with the cradled panel on top, just to make sure I did cut the size right for each board. I'll then add glue around all 4 sides, brush it in, and then place the panels on top. I will repeat this process for both boards. Once the glue is set up and the panel is placed on top, it's time to add clamps. I add clamps around all 4 sides of each board, making sure I get an even glue squeeze out around the sides. As I mentioned earlier, I was in no hurry with this project. I let this sit for about 24 hours before removing the clamps. If you didn't want to wait that long, I would say give it at least 2 hours to make sure everything is good before moving on. The final step is to trim our boards to size. I use my palm router with a flush trim bit going around all four corners, evening everything out. That'll leave you with a few dust hairs to take care of. I use a 120 grit sandpaper and get rid of these by hand. Once we do this, our project is complete and we're good to go. Here's our cradled panels ready to rock and roll. From here you can add some gesso and begin painting on them once that dries, or you can stretch a canvas over them, which is what I will be doing with the hardboard version of this project. I will be recording that for my next video, so please be sure to check that out. Thank you guys for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. See you guys next time.